All right, guys, Mrs. Cameron here. We are moving on to page 9 on our algebra yellow packet practice. Number 4 says solve the system of equations below. And our system of equations, when we're solving our solution to a system of equations, that's going to be an ordered pair. It's going to be where you have two lines where they intersect is the solution to your system of equations. And these are both linear equations. So our solution, as we solve through this, is going to be an ordered pair. So right away, when I'm looking at this, I see that our x variables have the same coefficients. When you're going in to solve a system of equations, there's usually 3 different ways to solve. You can solve by substitution, elimination, or you can solve by graphing it. If these were both in y equals mx plus b format, I might go for graphing first, but they gave us our 2 equations in standard form, which maybe makes it easier to find your intercepts, your x and y intercepts. But for me, I would choose elimination to solve this system of equations, just because those x variables have the same coefficient. So when I'm solving this, I'm going to rewrite my first equation just as it is. 2x plus 5y equals 14. And then my next one, I want to be able to combine my 2 equations and have the x variables cancel out. So I'm going to multiply both sides of this times -1. Multiply all of that times -1 and multiply this side times -1. And that's going to give me -1 times positive 2x minus 2x. And my negative y turns to positive y. And my positive 2 turns to -2. Now I can combine these, and my invisible number with that y is a 1. And now my x values do what I want. They cancel each other out, or they eliminate, right? And I've got 5y plus 1y is 6y equals 14 minus 2 is 12. And to get the y by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by 6 to give me y equals 12 divided by 6 is 2. So my y value to my solution is 2. And now I can take this and I can substitute it into either one of those equations. So I'll just put this into the second equation, clear that out. I'm going to take this y value and substitute it in right here. You could pick the top one in class when I asked you guys which one you wanted to pick, Everybody kind of said the top one, but I would go for the second one because there's no coefficient with that variable. So when I'm plugging it in, 2x minus y, which my y is 2, 2x minus 2 equals 2. And now solve for x. So to get my x by itself, I want to add 2 on both sides of the equal sign to give me 2x equals 4. And now to get the x by itself, my 2 and my x are multiplying together, so I'm going to divide both sides by 2 to give me x equals 2. And that is my solution to my system of equations. If you want to get some more practice on this skill, you can go on to your IXL account using our District Clever login. In class, we did lesson LRL and A48. And system of equations is definitely something that you're going to see on your Algebra EOC. So if you've done those and you think you need some more practice on systems of equations, I've got some more lessons for you to take a look at. I've got HJW, ACN, TSS, 8P9, and HLV. All of those are lessons that have to deal with solving systems of equations in those three methods: substitution, elimination, or by graphing. Continuing on page 9 in our packet, number 5 says simplify. Simplify the problem below using only positive exponents. So simplify just means to make it look neater, right? And divide, where you can divide since it's a fraction, and use only positive exponents. They sure gave us a lot of negative exponents here. So I'm gonna kind of look at this a piece by piece. Right away, I can turn my negative exponents positive by flipping them. So I've got a invisible 1 up at the top, but I got a 3 at the bottom. I'll leave my invisible 1. I'll write it in. So for me to make this x to the negative 3, right? This x to the negative 3 equals 1 over x cubed. For me to make a negative exponent positive, if it's at the top of a fraction, or if it's standalone, I can put it at the top of a fraction by putting a 1 underneath. I flip it to the bottom. So this x to the negative 3 becomes x cubed at the bottom. And my x to the negative 4 at the bottom of my fraction is going to move to the top. So just flip them around like this. And the same thing with my y. It's at the bottom. To get it positive, just pops up to the top. So y to the power of 5. And now I can continue simplifying. My x to the power of 4 over x to the power of 3. I'm just going to think about that one little part and what does that mean? X to the power of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 means x times itself 4 times, and x to the power 3 means x times itself 3 times. And what this means right here is x divided by x is equal to 1, 1, 1. So these all simplify out, and I'm just left with that one x there. So I've got, yeah, that's an invisible one. So I'm gonna let it go now. I'm only left with an x at the top. My x is at the bottom, all canceled out with x's from the top. So I'm left with an x at the top. There's no y's at the bottom to cancel out. So all that y to the power of 5 stays at the top, and all that over 3. This is our simplified version here, done. And we've only got one positive exponent now. And to get more practice on this in IXL, we did lesson B48 in class. I also would recommend lesson 70B and 48P. We'll give you some more practice that's similar to this. Let's continue on. Page 9, number 6. Determine the value of the expression. Write your exact answer with one radical. So radical, right, is that square root, or in this case, we got a cubed root sign. So solving here, we're going to simplify this, but before it looks simpler, it's going to look more messy. So I'm going to take this and say, okay, cubed roots. What do I know about cubed stuff? I know 1 to the power 3 equals 1 times 1 times 1 equals 1. That really doesn't do me any good here, because factoring out a 1 doesn't really help me much. But I also know 2 cubed equals 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. So therefore, I know the cubed root of 8 would be equal to 2. And now if I look over here, 40 and 32 are both multiples of 8. So I can rewrite this. Like I said, it's about to get messier before it gets simplified, but you got to trust the process, right? 4 times the cubed root, and 40 is 8 times 5 times the cubed root, and 32 is 8 times 4. So I can now separate these, getting messier again. 4 times the cubed root of 8 times the cubed root of 5 times the cubed root of 8 times the cubed root of 4. Now, anywhere that I have a cubed root of 8, I'm going to swap it out for a 2. So U become a 2, and U become a 2. And I need a little more space here. I'm going to move this 2 to the front. 4 times 2 times 2 times the cubed root of 5 times the cubed root of 4. We're getting someplace now. 4 times 2 times 2, you can put that on your calculator, you can just multiply. 4 times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times the cubed root, and I'm going to take this 5 and 4 since it's both a cubed root, and put them both inside my little checky box. And 5 times 4 is 20. So our simplified answer here with one radical is 16 cubed root of 20. And for some practice on this, I recommend IXL lessons. In class, we did DFF, but I also have DLV and DKA as lessons to practice this standard in IXL. Remember, you got to log in with our district Clever in order for you to be able to do more than 10 questions a day in IXL. Let's finish up this page. Number 7 says graph the equation below. And they're giving you this equation in slope-intercept form. And this is the slope. And this is your y-intercept. So we can graph this. If I can draw a straight line. Here's my y-axis. There's my x-axis. And I'll use another color. I'll put always this cobra's got to go for that purple. Y-intercept is at -2. So down by 2. My slope tells me to go 3 over 4. So I'm going up 3 and over to the right by 4 from my intercept. So up 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I want my points to intersect. Okay, there we go. Sorry if my line is made out of Jell-O, but that should be a straight line for a linear equation with a point here at x is 0, y is -2, and a point here at x is 1, 2, 3. X is 4, and y is +1. To get some more practice on this, I know we did this in class, but I would recommend R5T we did in class, UWB is a lesson we've done in class. And I also have one we didn't do, 9GW, as another, I think that's a G. Let me see. IXL, sign in. Oof, look at you guys go. Almost 50,000 questions answered on IXL so far this year. 9GW. Yeah, it is a G, not a 6. Okay, I can read my own handwriting. Thank goodness. And our last question on this page. Two linear functions are given below. F of x equals negative 3x plus 2. So one gives us a linear equation. And then we've got a table for x and g of x values here. They want to know which function has the greater slope, the greater y-intercept, and the greater x-intercept. So we've got to solve, or not solve, we've got to find all of those things. So I can start right away. My f of x is in slope-intercept form, so I already know my slope and y-intercept here. And my slope is f of x, f of x is -3, and my y-intercept is +2 for f of x, +2. Now to find my my y-intercept of f of x, I've got to set my y, or my function, equal to 0. So if we look at that as y equals -3x plus 2, make the y 0 to see what's x when y is 0. So 0 equals -3x plus 2. To get the x by itself, you could either subtract 2 on both sides of the equal sign. That's going to give me a lot of negative signs. So instead of that, I'm going to make my first step be to add 3x on both sides of the equal sign to give me 3x equals 2. And then when I get x by itself by dividing both sides by 3, I get my x-intercept is 2/3. So my f of x, x-intercept is 2/3. So I was able to find those things pretty quickly for f of x, and I can find them pretty quickly for g of x as well. Right here, I can see that my x's are going up by 1, so x 1, 2, 3, 4, and my y's are going up by 2, right? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. My y's are going up by 2. So for the slope of g of x, change in y, right? You could do 7 minus 5 with the corresponding x's underneath. 2 minus 1 is 2 over 1. Our slope is 2. So who's got the greater slope? G of x has the greater slope. And my y-intercept, they did not give me in the table, but I can continue this table going this way. And 4, 3, 2, 1, right? The numbers are getting smaller. My next number would be 0. So when x is 0, my y-intercept would be 11, 9, 7, 5, 3. my g of x, y-intercept is 3, which is greater than 2. So g of x has the greater y-intercept. And then what's the y-intercept? I can keep my table going because I'm almost to 0 for my y's. And this is negative 1. Ooh. 3 minus 2 is 1. And then negative 2. 1 minus 2 is negative 1. So my y would be 0 right in the middle of 1 and negative 1. So my x-intercept would be right in the middle of negative 1 and negative 2 at negative 1.5. So g of x is some negative slope, negative 1.5, which means f of x has a greater x-intercept because that's, even though it's a small number, it's a fraction, it's bigger than a negative number. So we are done with page 9. And to practice more of this, I recommend IXL lessons. I think in class we did GD7. We also have EA8, 39V, and SDX. I recommend you take a look at those lessons and choose one that you haven't practiced yet to practice for your algebra EOC. You got this, Cobra.